Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of R&B Reviews. I'm Brinder. This is Ridwan. Today we're discussing episode 3 of Loki. We know we were a little negative on episode 2, so howfully episode 3 has us talking a little bit more positively and just in a better mood. First off, just how'd you like this episode?
I like the episode. Like I think the episode was good. I like seeing like Loki and Loki like just talk and just vibe and chill. I feel like I don't think this episode was like enough to like redeem the whole series, but it was a really good episode. I just like seeing both of them interact, both of them like have a conversation. It was pretty funny. Like I feel like this is the vibe that they were trying to get from like the get go.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was good. It felt more like an adventure like TV show than anything else. How about you?
I like this way more than the other. Episode 2 was so boring.
Going mad
But this
annoying.
one was a little bit better. It still had its like down moments. Like I was like, okay, we're still here. Like let's
Yeah,
keep
let's
it
hurry it up.
moving. But overall, it was cool. She ended up saying she was a Loki variant, but switching up. There's a few scenes that I did enjoy, so I did like it, and it did go on smoother.
Yeah,
Than having me like pause it, do something else, come back to it.
the interactions between those two were actually really good too. Like just seeing them like interact as like I'm a Loki and you're a Loki, but who's the better Loki was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we actually got to see Loki, like his character started to make sense when he was fighting. So like when he was fighting, he was actually pretty good in this episode. Cause last episode when he was fighting like the Walmart employee or whatever, like
Yeah.
he was doing terrible. But now like he actually looked like he was like a super villain
And
in.
they show like different approaches. Like hers is
Yeah,
like I'm just trying to beat up everybody and get to my objective, while he's like there's a stealthy approach. It's like kind of like Assassin's Creed when you have like two different characters.
yeah.
One's like stealthy and one's brute force. But it was cool. I liked it. If there's anything like what stood out to you?
If I would say the storyline in terms of what Loki really want, because I thought Loki like he really wanted to work for the time unit or the time people,
Mm-hmm.
but it feels like he does have ulterior motives, like back when he's talking to like the other Loki. So that's one of the big things that stood out to me. Like he has like his ulterior motives. I thought he was gonna try and like his real goal was to redeem himself. So that I don't know, that's what stood out to me. Do you feel anything that was like, I feel like you usually catch like the low key stuff in the show or like the Easter eggs. Like, did you catch anything that you're like,
I was listening to like their conversations in depth. Like so she was explaining like her mom, and then he was explaining the mom. Like that stuff was cool. I
yeah,
couldn't see any Easter eggs specifically, but it ended up answering a question that I had previously. I'll get back to that later. Just other things that stood out was a different scenery. Like I just didn't like the TVA scenery at all.
yeah,
So having them like dip
in a
out to
different world?
something else, yeah, like that was like cooler. It's like it was more Marvel esque, and I know I'm not really the greatest fan of the Marvel esque, but like Loki made me miss it.
W-
So
Were they like, where were they? Like, was it because they were on a planet and it was the year 2077.
yeah, I want to say it was like Luminar or
Yeah, but what
something
was that? Was that
luminous. So it was a planet that was about to explode, or sorry, so everybody was gonna die because the moon was gonna fall into it.
but was it like a Earth type planet?
No, not Earth. It was like it was a different. It was like purplish.
Because that's all I was confused about like where they were, and
There
then
was humans on it.
yeah,
There's like human civilizations on it, and from what they said is like the arc that's supposed to save everybody, the civilization,
yeah.
it ends up like not leaving. So in terms of the timeline, it doesn't leave, and then everybody ends up dying anyways.
I feel like now, so you know, you okay? So I think they snuck that in there because they wanted to be able to have them do like whatever without messing up the timeline. So I feel like they snuck that in there to be like, yo, they did like X, Y, and Z on this planet, but
Yeah.
it still doesn't mess up the timeline. Because if you go back to like episode 1, they're like, oh, if you do something, but there's a huge catastrophe, then it doesn't change the timeline. So
Well, she already bombed like
the time, but I feel like they're gonna fix that. So now that I think about it, they're having them do a whole bunch of different things so that at the end of the show they could be like, hey, we ended up here and whatever they did doesn't mess up the time. I don't know, I'm just like brainstorming, like,
But people are expecting like her bombing the timeline, starting the multiverse. But it's like the multiverse already existed prior
yeah,
to whatever she's doing. She's just creating different branches that the timekeepers just don't want. And her like reasoning, we just don't know. Um, overall, like it is pretty cool. How she explains that the people working for the TVA, they're actually humans who were actually variants before that. So
Yeah.
that answers one of the questions I had for the last two episodes. Like why are they human? Why do they speak English as not like a different language? Time they said that the timekeepers created them, so they just don't have those memories. Um, but yeah, so that answered that. That was really cool.
Do you like the female Loki? What was her name?
Sylvie, she went by Sylvie, and in the comics there's a version of Sylvie.
Do you like her now? Like, do you like her character now?
I like her character now, and she slowly like grew on me, even like in terms of looks. But
Yeah.
it's not like crazy. Like I don't know, I felt weird, but it did like she crept up there.
I feel like I like her like a lot. Like, I feel like she's helping make the show good.
Yeah,
Like,
she is.
I don't think she's like as good as
Tom Hiddleston.
no, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. No, how am I forgetting his name? Though
Bucky?
not huh? Would you just
Bucky.
no, not Bucky. My favorite character.
Here.
B starts with a B.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yo, how am I forgetting his name? No, I gotta pull it up. I don't know
Okay.
why his name. Baron Zemo.
Oh, okay.
Zemo.
Yeah,
What was I gonna say? I feel like her bringing her in made the show better. Kind of like how
Oh, yeah,
bringing
yeah.
Zemo in made the show better.
in like
So,
the third episode.
Yeah,
Yeah, I actually I like her. I actually like the for a moment it seemed like they were really connecting, and maybe on an emotional level, maybe not on an emotional level, but they were like connecting. Like they have similar sort of lives, and they're both variants.
yeah,
So they did connect on the train there, and that was cool. And then Loki was singing. What was weird was like Loki was like drunk, but he was like singing to her, and then when they were like, this is a big thing on like Twitter and stuff. So the director, I think the director or the executive producer might be bisexual, something along those lines.
yeah,
So in the show, Loki, our main timeline Loki,
yeah,
the Sylvie suggests that he is bisexual,
yeah,
and he like kind of confirms it,
yeah,
making him like the first bisexual on screen for a Marvel or something like that. And online it just said like it's fine that he's bisexual, but people were saying it doesn't make sense for you to just push this out there when he's been straight for all these years up until this point. And just if you want to push a narrative out just to have your narrative out there, like it's silly, it's stupid.
Has he been straight though?
I don't know if he has, but a lot of people say it, and like
That he's been straight. I thought because when you said like, oh, like he's like Loki is asexual, or like he doesn't have a sex, and that's why the girl,
He's
the one
fluid,
might
yeah.
or fluid, the girl one might be a girl. So when he said that, it didn't shock me because of that conversation from like episode 1.
yeah.
So like if you didn't say that, maybe I'd be like, oh, but like because you said that, when I seen that, I was like, oh, like that's his characters. Like I already clued in that that's who he was.
So when I saw that, like I paused that screen from episode 1, and
Yeah.
it said Loki sexual or sex, I think it was sex, being fluid. I first took it like how you took it, like, oh, is he bisexual? But it said sex, like his personal, like, is he male or female?
Yeah.
So then when it said fluid, and then I heard the rumors of like it'll be a girl.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, that all makes sense. So I didn't like when they said, oh, you are like, is there a prince or princess or whatever?
Yeah.
That felt a little strange because it felt like forced. It didn't feel natural. It just felt like forced. If he's bisexual, like that doesn't change my life. That doesn't change how I'm gonna view the storyline.
Yeah.
Over the MCU. It just seems weird, like how they're just moving
Like
this
that.
stuff.
I don't know. I feel like I feel like because what you said, I was like, that's what made me be like, oh, okay, whatever. Like,
Do you think it was planned then by the
now,
director?
like when the way they said it, like the way they threw it in there, I definitely feel like it was like the director's like, all right, we have to put this in here like this, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like because the way she said like prince or princesses, like I it was definitely forced, but because of like him being like the fluid thing, like in my mind already, that's why I was like, oh, like
So
that's why I seen him like that. If you never said that, then I wouldn't have like put two and two
that was
together.
like the first step for her to like make it easier for you to accept this.
It was more like I didn't know what he was. So now that I seen that, oh, there was a female Loki and he was fluid, then I was like, oh, like that's who he was, like from the beginning.
From the beginning.
But I feel like that was more so not because of what Marvel did, but more so because you said he was fluid.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay,
why
so it's just
it wasn't anything in the story didn't make me think that way,
it's
other
just
than when
how
you
it-
said like,
okay,
oh, he was fluid. So you spoiled that for me.
my bad. But a lot of but a lot of people online they feel some type of way. Like even if they're not against like the
Yeah.
LGBTQ,
They feel like it was forced.
they feel like it's forced, and they're like it happens. It's gonna happen more and more, obviously, but it's
Yeah.
happening a lot, and it's like it's gray areas. You have to be you have to be politically correct and still appease like the audience that you already had. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I just hope it's not like nothing forced. Like if it's from the jump, like I don't care. Like for example, like Dumbledore is one of my favorite characters all time, and he turned out to be gay after I finished the movies. He was confirmed to be gay. I didn't even see that stuff. The only reason that it affected me is because I saw Dumbledore as Harry's grandfather,
Yeah.
like that esque, and then McGonagall being the grandmother, so them having a relationship. That's how I always saw it as I was watching it. So that's the only thing it ruined for me. But to this day, like I think Dumbledore is a G. Like regardless of what he wants to do in his free time,
Yeah.
he's a real one. I don't know. So we'll just move on. But a lot of people felt some type of way about that. Another question I had was like, how do you think the pacing went? So we know the first two episodes were crazy slow for us, both being 40 plus minutes each. How's the pacing for this episode? Does it bring it up? Do you think it's gonna continue going up?
No, I still think the pacing was kind of slow on this episode because like they're on the train and they're trying to get off the planet, and then like, cause keep in mind there's only 6 episodes, right?
Yeah.
So like they're trying to get off the planet, and then like they had that arc, which was funny because it matched like one of the arcs for the new Star Wars The Bad Batch.
Okay.
They had like a very similar arc, but that episode ended and they didn't even like get through that whole like situation,
Yeah.
and then you expect them to go to like multiple timelines and multiple like multiverses, but that's one episode on just this one planet. So I don't know. I feel like it's mad slow. Like I feel like I wanted to see it go faster. Like, did you think? I feel like you're gonna say like, nah, it's like it's going slow.
It's definitely going slow overall, like in terms of like how you say 6 episodes. But
Yeah.
if we didn't know it was 6 episodes, I think I would just say the 2 episodes were mad slow. They were a wash.
Yeah.
And this third episode is finally picking it up. Like it is picking it up, but I don't know how fast. In terms of 6 episodes, it's not picking up fast enough.
For real, like.
So I don't know where like 5 and 6 go. Like
And
five
they
and
still
six-
went back to the TV. They were still in the TVA this episode because they went to the TVA,
beginning, yeah.
and then after they went back to like this Luminar planet.
Oh, another thing. When he like they escape the judge,
Yeah.
and right in the beginning, why doesn't she just jump in with the guards? She has the future TVA weapons, like.
Wait, jump in with the guards?
So the judge goes in and tries to attack them with the one thing that
Yeah,
zaps them.
yeah.
And then she goes in, she swings, and Loki grabs Sylvie's like time thing,
Yeah.
the portal. He creates a portal and they fall underneath.
Yeah.
When normally it's out or whatever, they fall underneath. Why she's just looking down at the portal? Why not just
Maybe
jump in?
that's actually a good question. Maybe she doesn't have one of those things on her.
And she's always
Maybe she doesn't have one of those teleport things on her.
just use the teleport that he just used. You were looking down at it.
Yeah, but then no. If she jumped in, maybe she doesn't have a way to jump back out.
That is true.
That's the only thing I can think of.
You'd think
I
they'd
always
have it on
defend.
camera.
You know me. I always defend the plot.
Then what you'd think they'd always have it on them, but okay, if you jump in, you don't have it on you. You erase these guys now that you take their stuff.
That's risky though.
Hey, you're the TVA.
That's risky.
You would expect. So in my mind, like automatically, it would be like she jumps in, she gets trapped, but she's dealt with the variants. She's still a TVA head. Like her bodyguards or whatever, even if both of them stayed or both of them came, they would somehow know where she's at and what she's doing.
I think so too.
And
They would. You know what I was when I was thinking, I was like, they probably know these two Lokis are on this planet, but they're like, oh, this planet's gonna be destroyed anyway, so
yeah,
we can just leave
like,
them there.
They have all this tech to know exactly what's going on in wherever, and they could just be pulled out.
I don't know.
And she's like, she doesn't like the variants whatsoever, so she's gonna get rid of them regardless.
Yeah, she seemed like she didn't rock with Loki and either or Loki.
So we'll just pass on that. You overall liked Sylvie though, right, Lady Loki?
Yeah, I think she's cool. Like, character wise, I think she's made the show better, but not just because her character is super sick, but because of obviously like where she took the story. So like I would say like she's like a good character.
You know what I would find sick is if you know how Sylvie told us that every TVA worker is a variant themselves.
Yeah.
And they just don't realize it, but they've now been instead of erased, but
Yeah.
just been told to work for the TVA. What would be interesting is seeing this. We're not gonna see this for sure. 2 more episodes left. What would be sick is seeing everybody, like, how are they the variant? Like, what do they do to become the variant? And then, like, how are they taken or whatever? Like, little clips here and there.
Yeah.
We'll see Mobius. Like, what did Mobius do to become a variant? Like, say you're a human living in the MCU. How do you become a variant?
I don't know. To be honest, that's a good question.
Yeah, so that would be interesting to me to just see that. Like, what did Mobius do? Mobius was probably riding a jet ski.
Jet ski. That's what I was thinking too.
Going crazy.
You think he's gonna be back on a jet ski?
He's gonna be. We have to. If they don't show us him.
But then they made the show. They showed us the show after like they made the show. So like maybe they don't have like a jet ski scene.
If they don't have a jet ski scene, they drop the ball. That's all I know.
I just want to recant that. I don't think this one will be better than like the other two. I just want to like put that out there.
But you initially had it.
I thought it was gonna be like great, amazing.
You thought it was gonna be better than Falcon, right?
Yeah. I thought it could be better than both. I thought there was a possibility because Loki, like, you know, when he had the interaction with, imagine the interaction he had with Sylvie was the same interaction, the same quality of interaction he had with like the Mobius. That would be sick, no? Like that would be interesting to watch. That's another 2 episodes that was interesting to watch. And imagine that they weren't just in the TVA and they're actually allowed to leave the office.
So you're pretty much just saying imagine it was good.
Basically. But it's I feel they had so much potential, but they like flopped on it.
I don't know,
man. They should have made it 10 episodes, but whatever.
They should have made it longer. I don't know why
these episodes should have been like 10.
Whoever greenlit WandaVision for 9 episodes, you're a real one. But it was a little bit smaller. Like, I think the time frame was the same, but whoever greenlit that's they're smart people. And yes, Elizabeth Olsen and Wanda is their top tier.
Top tier?
Top tier, yeah.
You got to do a tier list for the Marvel characters.
What would you say is your favorite part of this episode?
I would say when they were like sneaking onto the train. I feel like was my favorite part. And then like them like you said, like them going interacting, doing like their own thing, seeing like, yo, how are we gonna get on the train? I think that was my favorite part. When they were fighting, I think that was my favorite part. When they were like in the room and then they're doing that little like fight situation. Mm-hmm. I think that was pretty good too. So I would say that was my favorite part.
What was your least favorite
part? My least favorite part was probably when they were talking to each other. They were like sitting at the table talking to each other. That kind of dragged on a little bit. And then after when he was drunk or whatever, I felt like that was like mad extra. But I don't know. I felt like that was a little bit extra. And yeah, that was like I would say my least favorite.
See, that's where we disagree. So one of my favorite parts was when he was like drunk and he was like singing. I like those like old type of, not nursery rhymes, but they're old type of songs, folk songs, I guess.
Yeah.
Those are cool. And Loki's always cool. So when he's like speaking like a Norse person,
yeah,
it was dope for that. Seeing the history of like of Sylvie, like explaining her history and like her mom and whatever, that was cool as well. My least favorite part probably just like just them just throwing out there that like he was bisexual. Like, I don't know.
You felt like it didn't match with what the show was trying to.
Yeah, when they said that, like I think I kind of paused the show and I was like scanning my memory.
But you said he was like he was fluid.
But like that's what I mean. But like his sex is fluid.
Yeah.
So like if I said, Ridwan, your sex is fluid, I'm not saying like you like male or female. I'm saying that you're both.
Exactly.
You are both, not that you were interested in both.
But if you're both, then you I'm assuming either way he would still be interested in both. Because then when I look at him now, I don't look at him as a guy or a girl. But I guess what you meant by that is that like within the multiverses, he could be both.
He could be both.
But in my mind, I was thinking that like when I look at him, I'm like, oh, he's both. Like he's both. Yeah, exactly. At the time.
Yeah.
So then when he said that, I was looking at it from the lens of like, yo, he's both.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's not what.
That's not how you looked at it. Not even before that.
I was strictly because of the variant stuff. Like they already told me like there's different versions.
Yeah.
I automatically just assumed. Oh, that was actually the second episode. Even then, I was like, yeah, he's not both himself, but there's
both versions.
Of him, yeah.
Oh no, I think I look at him as being both.
Oh, okay, so that's where we differ. But yeah,
even the girl, I'm like, oh, like she's a girl, but like she really could be a guy, like. And then that scene was kind of funny because the Frost Giant was like when she's just like, he's like, oh, did you know you're adopted? Or like, oh, sorry to like reveal that information. And she's like, oh, I already knew I was adopted. Yeah. Because apparently Loki didn't know for a while.
Loki didn't know for a while. And he's like, oh, they told you? What the hell? They didn't tell me. When do you think we'll see the Timekeepers? Or do you think we will?
I think probably like next episode.
Next episode we'll see them?
Yeah.
That'll be amazing.
They have to have a villain to fight in episode 8.
Yeah, there is not money.
There's nothing. Who are they gonna fight?
I don't know what they're doing really realistically.
Yeah, it's like just, the show is just like a sit back show. It's like I don't know, but
I'm just gonna stop replaying things.
I feel like you could watch it from like the beginning to like when you watch the show. Like, how do you when you like? Do you feel like, oh, okay, like, do you sit back and you're like, oh, okay, like, there's nothing to see here? Because it's unlike WandaVision. Like, with WandaVision, when you were watching WandaVision, there's, like, things that you have to keep track of. Yeah. And then with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it was more like, oh, like, you kind of knew where the plot was going and you kind of knew where they were getting. Like, what do you feel when, because you pick up more stuff than I do. Like, what do you feel when you watch the show, like, what they're trying to do?
I just kind of just listen in on what they're doing. Even when, I miss a word, I try to catch it. But normally with Loki, it's like, oh, that stuff doesn't matter. Like, yeah, just throwaway lines. So I haven't seen like any like meaningful Easter eggs that I can think of off the top of my head, besides like rumors online of it being like Kang the Conqueror dated this person in the comics, or this character does this in the comics. Besides there being comic book links, there's no Easter eggs from the show directly. Yeah. So when I'm watching it now, it's like, especially after episode 2, I was like, I don't even care. Like,
is it because you don't like Loki's character? Because some people, I was on Reddit and some people were like, yo, this is fire. Is it because you don't like Loki's character? Like, how much do you think you like Loki's character before to like now?
I thought he was cool.
And then I'm gonna compare like someone else too. Like,
I thought he was cool, and I think this is like sort of changing his character, because yeah, he was always the anti-hero, and then like he was always like the bad guyish, but he has good, and then he turns good, so it's like, oh, he was cool. And then this show, like, it seems like he caters a lot to like Mobius. Like,
yeah, I didn't like that.
Like, can you he's pretty much trying to get attention from Mobius, like, see me. And then now the third episode, I felt like he was doing that with Sylvie, like he was just like he was the sidekick. Yeah, like it just felt weird.
It didn't feel natural to like, that felt like it just didn't feel like that's who Loki is as a character. That actually didn't sit well with me, because I'm looking at him, I'm like, there's no way Loki's going to, because he's working at the TVA, and like Loki's going to work, and like he's like trying to get his supervisor to see his work. Jacket.
It says and he's cool with it.
Yeah, like it just seems like unnatural. But then they did make it seem like he has a trick up his sleeve, and he's using that as a like to pander because he has a trick. Yeah, but I don't know.
Falls out, and then episode 3, he just seems like he's just the sidekick. You know what? It would have been like more realistic. He sees like, oh, there's a label variant on my back. Yeah. Him changing it to like, God of Asgard.
That actually makes a lot more sense.
Like he could have just changed it, and like that'd have been like more true to his character
than the other one.
Especially at this time too. Yeah. It's like, okay, like it's 2012 Loki. Like,
I think you're 100% right. Like I honestly think you're right. But then this leads to my other question. Do you think you would have liked the show if you had Thor, I think something of Asgard, the Thor when he goes to the planet and he fights Hulk? Like, because right now the show's about Loki, but Loki's character is like, the first 2 episodes we didn't like, but and it's just focused on Loki. But if you had like, not Thor, obviously not the same, the story would be different, but Thor, like that version of Thor.
Yeah, but it would take away from Loki. Like Thor is just a sick fucking character.
Or not like instead of, not with Loki, but instead of. Do you think like the show would have been more interesting? Basically, I'm trying to get like, do you think it might be a character issue? Like you just Loki isn't like likable enough.
Loki's a character to have a 6-episode series on.
Yeah.
No, I think you can do it. I think you could do it if it was 6 episodes and just faster. Like like we could have seen it. Like Loki just being like what we initially thought. What did you initially think when this show was about to come out?
So I didn't watch the trailer for the show, but I thought it was gonna be like him joining like the TVA and then him trying to catch like other variants and then maybe at the end like obviously like catch whoever
How
like
did you
he's
know
intending.
anything about the TVA if you didn't watch any trailers?
I don't know, but I just knew he was gonna be a detective. I know we had a discussion.
I think you saw the picture of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so like my first thoughts of like what Loki was gonna be, especially knowing that like in Endgame he takes the space stone. I thought he was gonna use the space stone to travel in different like multiverse and everything being.
Oh, I seen that like
I
teaser.
thought he was gonna travel to different plot points of the entire like universe, and even like for some of our favorite Marvel movies, like he was gonna be in the background or something.
Oh,
he's gonna be doing something crazy here, and then it's like time people could be chasing him, but like he's too nice. You can't catch him, and you're like, you know what? Like they show he was in when Tony Stark meets his dad in Endgame.
Yeah,
he was actually in the back. He was just watching, just messing
around.
That
would be actually a lot better than what they did now.
Yeah, so I actually thought it was going to be really cool. That's why I predicted it being better than Falcon. I didn't know he was going to be a variant, and this is going to be just like the DC Legends of Tomorrow show. So what I
think it's worse.
Different. Yeah, I actually watched a lot of the DC Legends.
I watched it, and I felt like they had good episodes and good like time jumps.
That was weird. I don't think we're gonna see the timekeepers.
You don't think so?
No, because they hinted for WandaVision, they hinted a lot of like big characters and we didn't see anything. And then same thing with like Falcon and Winter Soldier, like it was like Flag Smashers, like what is that? And then what's the other boss? Power Broker. And like it ended up being the girl, but maybe it's not the girl.
Yeah.
They can change it later down the road. So I don't think we're gonna see the timekeepers, because if we see the timekeepers, that's the biggest reveal of like the whole TV series, like the canon TV series.
Yeah.
And those guys are so significant. They pretty much created everything or chose what was reality from the start to the finish. They're more powerful than the Power Stones themselves.
So we'll never see them.
So I don't think we can see them, unless we'll see one of them and he ends up being Kang, and that leads into, people are speculating this is gonna lead into Ant-Man. I just don't see how. Like, but I don't pay attention to no trailers, nothing that like could spoil it for me. I stay away from. So I don't know how it leads into Ant-Man, but a lot of people are saying that online.
I guess we'll have to wait and find out and see what happens.
How do you think it affects the Marvel timeline, especially with the bombing and everything?
I think they're just gonna like, honestly, genuinely, I think it'll bring Loki back, but that's it. Like, I feel like because Marvel is such a big franchise, we kind of know where Marvel is gonna head with everything. So we know that they're gonna wrap everything nice and neat for the movies. They've already made certain things not canon anymore because they want to protect the movies. Yeah. So I already feel like because we know this, they're never gonna do anything too special in the show, and then the show will end with us like being like, oh, okay, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is still intact. Okay,
yeah. I think I even saw like a YouTube video, like New Rock Stars. That's a good channel to watch. But I think they posted a video of like the low-key time bombings helping the MCU timelines. I don't know. I didn't watch it, but that's what they said. So it could be good for them. Of course, like Kevin Feige, they have a lot of money to hire a lot of smart people to make sure this timeline sticks. It's just they created a lot more work for themselves when they introduced the time travel stuff.
I think so too.
What do you think you would rate it out of 10?
This I would rate like, I want to say 6.5.
I'm there with you.
6.5, like 6.5. I didn't want to rate it as like 7 is like good, but then like I feel like
didn't
deserve a 7, but a 6.5, 6. You're right, like it's like in there.
Yeah.
The ending was like interesting, and I want to see how they get off the planet. But like it was like interesting. Like
It might have been lower if episode 1 and 2 didn't suck so bad. This episode I might have rated
that's actually true. That's
lower.
actually true because watching the last 2 episodes, like they could have done anything. Honestly, the bar was set so low.
Yeah,
They could have done
exactly.
anything, and it would have been like it would have been a good show to watch or a good episode compared to the last two.
You liked the ending?
I thought it made it. To be honest, it was like because they were going to the arc. It was like interesting to watch them to like trying to like get to the arc. I still think things didn't make sense. I'm not the type to poke holes into like the plot hole, but like if I'm a guard and then the arc is like flying
100%
away,
saying the
I'm
same
not gonna
thing.
be outside fighting.
Fight-
I'm gonna be
Fighting
running.
to keep people off the arc that doesn't allow me on it.
No boost. Like so, I didn't understand, but I think the guards expected to be on the arc at the end of the day because one of the guards was crying. He's like, "Oh no, like the arc left without me." But then like, what did he?
They literally said last call.
That I don't know what he was expecting. I don't know if you remember that scene, but
I think I saw.
he was like on the ground crying. He's like, "Oh my god!" Like right when it got destroyed, and then the Loki and Sylvie. I don't know where they went, but it sounds like they just went to like. I'm expecting them to go to like a bar and start drinking because they're like whatever.
That's what I expected as well. During the ending, it was just weird because they're going to like a weird like alien
Planet.
alien city, and
Yeah.
it looked a little different, but it's all humans nonetheless. Why the guards were fighting, I have no idea. And it was like an anime, not an anime, it was like a video game-esque style of like how they shot it.
That's what I think too.
They were standing still, and then they were looking up at the thing, and then it changed angles from like them all the way up, and it was like this is like just like a video game. And then they were moving plot points. It was like a story mode, with like a cinematic presence.
Yeah.
We've all played those games, and it had that. It just didn't make sense. Like, I would have liked to see them go on board and then like take it over, like the style of like 100, how they do stuff like that. But it was all right. It just how do they get off now? Like you've already introduced the planets, the moons exploding on the planet. Their first idea, the time machine thing, that's broken, and then now this arc that they were supposed to go on and help actually save the race.
Yeah.
That's blown
That's
up
gone.
soon, so that's gonna be gone. How do you get off this?
Actually, I don't know.
And you have no thoughts?
Like literally none. Like when I seen it, that's to be honest, that might be a good thing because now we're thinking like, oh my god, like these guys are like, there's nothing that they can do because everything got destroyed, right? So I think someone might save them, but like literally, like I can't think of any single thing that would save them other than like the timekeepers coming in and being like, yeah.
I just thought of
But then
Mobius pulling up.
Mobius, it would make sense for him to save Loki, but it wouldn't make sense for him to save Sylvie. Like if he saves Sylvie, it just wouldn't make sense whatsoever unless he comes in and they're like, "Oh, you're a variant too," and then he's just like, "Oh my god, like what do you mean?" He's like, "No, we know you're a variant," and then after he's just like, "Come with me" or something like something crazy.
Like that, yeah. I feel like you're right that's what's gonna
Spot
happen. Other than Mobius, there's no need for any other TVA agent to pull up.
Nah, there's literally none.
Yeah.
This would be perfect for them. Like this would be exactly what they would want. Right.
And then they can just focus on like fixing the branch timelines that were created or doing whatever that needs to be done. My last question would be: does this move the needle? Does this episode move the needle on it being a good show or a bad show? And your projection of it being a good show or a bad show. We already know it's a bad show regardless.
Yeah.
With like a 3 and a 2 rating.
Yeah.
Like another like 4 or 5, and this one being 6.5. We already know it's a failing grade.
Yeah.
But does the projection, does it seem like it's gonna lean towards being a good show?
I think it's just gonna not be a trash show. Like I was gonna if it continued to cross the same course, I know you would too. But I was like, yo, like I would just say, yo, this is garbage, this is trash. I was shocked on Reddit when people were like, the show's really good and stuff like that. I'm like, what are these guys thinking?
I actually don't get what they're.
I think they really like Loki. That's why I think they really like the show because they like a lot of people like Loki more than like you could imagine. So I think that's what it has to be. But not like it can only change from whether it's a trash show to like just like a show that I would never recommend to anyone.
My manager at work said he liked episode 2, and I was like,
I think one of our friends said the same thing. You're telling me he watched the show.
Oh yeah. He said he liked it, but that guy does. That guy just looks at the screen. He's not paying attention.
But you would say like, can it be saved for you? I feel like you won't save it.
It's not gonna be saved on like a great like a GOAT show, but like it can be slightly redeemable to be like a decent show, as you're saying. Like it has to just the two episodes just have to be bang, like they have to be 9s out of 10s. Like one can't one if both of them are 8s, like all right, the show is just like a one time watch and then don't watch it again. If it's 2 9s, then back to back 9s and like things happen
I
that are
don't think it's
sick,
possible.
that it's gonna be 9s. If yeah, it's a high bar that they have to set, but 2 9s back to back, I'm like okay, maybe one and a half of those episodes from the first two is worth it. Maybe I don't know how to.
We'll
Can't speak
see.
to
I
that.
don't know. I think
How anybody says the first two episodes of WandaVision are hard to watch and hard to sit through when they're 20 minutes a piece, and then they're cool with episode 2. The- I don't.
I don't know. I actually don't know, but I feel like it's just something that is gonna go in history books as wash. I still think Black Widow has potential when the movie comes out. I think that's gonna be like the one to watch, and I think I'll be right about Black Widow.
How are we gonna do that too? Because like
Is it in theaters?
it's gonna be in theaters.
I thought it was Disney Plus.
I think they're gonna do both, but we're gonna have to pay for it then.
I'm not paying. If it's Disney Plus, we won't have to pay for it. If it's just theaters,
You can use my account. How about that?
no. Why would you pay for it?
I got you.
You can chop out the. I just made an episode. I just made a thing on watching free
Oh yeah, you guys can check that out too. You
anime
gotta-
websites for free.
Exactly.
I have to make another one just for you. I'll make one
for movies, for like
for
actual
movies. Yeah. Where you can watch Marvel movies for free legally.
legally. Any other questions you have?
Honestly, that's everything on the show. I wish the show was greater, but there's just nothing more. I know you're more disappointed than me because you live more for like the Marvel stuff,
And I'm.
and you have to watch all these because when we do one of those like quizzes, like those like in-person quizzes, you're gonna have to know because I won't know. Actually, to be honest, I think now I'll be able to help because when they say stuff, I watch the show, so like
oh, it was so bad. I remember.
I remember this like these specific things. So if they ask me what is on the back of Loki's jacket when he joined the TVA, I'll know exactly.
Variant, exactly. All right, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for us. Check us out on YouTube,
Spotify,
and Apple Music. Follow, like, and subscribe.
Google too. They have like a Google podcast thing.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't even mean to interrupt, but they automatically upload to like a lot of streaming platforms that we probably don't even know exist too. So
For Google.
yeah, like when you do the RSS feed and you upload the podcast, like there's some links that like they'll be like it's on this site, and I'm like, oh, bet.
True. All right. If you guys have any suggestions on what we should be reviewing, just give us your thoughts on the YouTube page. Just leave a comment or something. Other than that, we'll be back next week for Loki episode 4. Hopefully, it's a banger 9 out of 10. But we'll see.
All right, easy
Peace.
guys.